Guys, don't you just love the feeling when you go to the movies with your friends, you buy some popcorn, maybe even a slushie if you're really feeling yourself. Then you sit down in your overpriced seat, and now you wait for the movie to start. But instead, you're bombarded with the Gran Turismo trailer for the 600th time this week. Well, guess what? That's the focus of today's video. Before we get started, this video is sponsored by The Usual Rejects. This is not a shameless plug for one of my other channels, but we move. The Usual Rejects is this amazing podcast hosted by these three young, handsome individuals. Oh, would you look at that? One of them actually looks like me, where they talk about film and TV news every single week. So if you want to stay up to date with your film and television news and be entertained at the same time, go listen and watch their podcast every Tuesday at 11 a.m. Gran Turismo 2023, directed by Neil Blomkamp, follows Jean, a gifted Gran Turismo video game player who wins a competition with a chance to race real race cars. Sounds like a cool story, right? Well, it's based on a true story. Now, if you haven't seen this film, I don't quite blame you, because if you look it up, the reviews are less than stellar. But guess what? I'm here to tell you that they are wrong. They're actually wrong. Yep, that's right. The film isn't that bad. In my opinion, it's not a perfect film by any means, but it doesn't mean it's a bad film. I had a good time with it. After I watched the film, I was a bit confused because I had a good time, and so I went to look up reviews as to why people thought they were bad and why it was received so poorly, and people were saying that it was bland, it falls short, and it's just an ad for PlayStation. And I mean, while some of those criticisms, yes, at times are true, I don't think it's a bad film by any means. My biggest criticism for the film is the story structure. There's about 3 points in the film where it feels like, oh, this is the final act. After this, the movie ends, only to realize, oh, there's another hour of the film left. I mean, after the first two, I thought I was alright, but after the third one, the movie did end, so I was happy at that point. On top of that, I think the drama's a bit cliche and predictable. It feels forced at times, like, oh, the protagonist likes the girl, and then he gets with the girl, or the family doesn't believe in the protagonist's dreams, and then they do, stuff like that. There's nothing wrong with that, but it is a bit predictable. Now, with all that being said, I don't think it's a bad film. Like I keep emphasizing, I think it's actually pretty good. Everyone loves a good old-fashioned underdog story, and this film is exactly that. John is very much down on his luck, and even though he gets frustrated a lot because of his situation, you want him to succeed. You want him to work hard, and you want him to be at the top because you know what he's willing to risk and how much he loves Gran Turismo. Plus, he's going up against a lot of pretentious, rich, well-off race car drivers who show off and are very egotistical. So of course you want to see them lose as well. And for the most part, this film has a pretty good cast. Archie Madekwe does a pretty good job at John. Orlando Bloom is also in this. He's very fun. And David Harbour is the backbone of the film. He is the heartbeat of the story. Every time he's on screen, you want to know what he's going to say to John. And with anything David Harbour does, he's great in this. Solid guy. And the relationship between his character and John is really, really superb too. I think the visual design of the film is also pretty cool and slick. Unlike a lot of other racing films, this film's not too hyper stylized or anything like that. The racing scenes for the most part are actually pretty realistic. And that's not to say that that's a bad thing for other films. Obviously it depends on the story. But I think for this particular story, having it be a little bit more grounded makes sense. Now, one thing they do that doesn't keep it grounded is they'll insert video game elements into the racing scenes. So like, for example, when John is driving his car, you'll see like a number on top of his car indicating what place they're in, and it's straight out of the video game. And I think that's actually a really cool touch. It kind of allows us to watch the races from John's point of view. I think that's cool. I mean, it works for the film. It's not too over the top, and I like it. And of course, the sound design in this film is incredibly satisfying. I think a lot of other people can agree. The sound of racing in movies is amazing. We can't get enough of the engines going, the cars on the road. You know how it is. And this film is no exception to that. It is, every time there's a race, you're in for some ear candy. It's awesome. It's cool. It's slick. It's satisfying. You just can't get enough of it. Also, one thing that really struck me as kind of weird is how dark the film gets at one point. If you've seen any reviews for the film online, you know that it has a moment that gets really dark. Now, the weird thing about this moment, you know what? If you don't want spoilers, go to this timestamp right here. Because, yeah. Okay, good. You guys are gone? Perfect. So about halfway through the film, John gets into a car crash, and you see it in the trailers, and when you watch the film, initially you watch it and you go, oh, it's just gonna be like part of his story arc. You know, he gets into a car crash, he doesn't think he can drive anymore, and then he has to build up that confidence. Well, yes and no. Turns out he actually just killed a guy at that point in time. Yeah, kind of crazy. He wakes up from the hospital and they're like, oh yeah, you killed the dude. It's not your fault, but he's dead. And of course, that one would think, oh my gosh, that's going to impact him until the film ends. Well, they never show the guy. They mention the guy's family, but they never show the guy's family. And then about 15 to 20 minutes later, the issue is resolved. The film essentially convinces you that, oh, John's over it now. He's ready for the final act. That was a bit weird because it's like, well, the film has gone like this up until this point, right? Obviously, racing is a dangerous sport, but they haven't dove in, they didn't go into some crazy territory. And then just kind of spikes up with this moment, and then it goes back down to where it was. It's a bit strange in my opinion, and it can be a big turnoff, but overall, I don't think it was the worst thing ever. You know, it obviously could have been handled better. What can we do now, right? But besides that, like I said, the film isn't bad. Overall, it was a pretty decent film. So yeah, so that's been my review for Gran Turismo. Like I said, overall, the film isn't too bad. It's actually pretty fun. It's cliche, it's predictable, but if you want to see something fun and easy, go check out Gran Turismo. Although if I were you, I'd probably wait until it comes out on streaming. And yeah, that's Gran Turismo. Like I said, go watch the film. Let me know what you think. And as per usual, thank you for taking the time out of your day to sit here or stand there. I don't know what you're doing. You could be hiking right now and watching this. But thank you for taking the time to watch me talk about cars. Yep, that's what we're doing. Cars and movies, of course. Yep, thank you so much. And take care. Until next time. See ya.